Take two people living in the exact same economy with the exact same opportunities. Now hand them each exactly $1,000. 12 months later, one person is completely broke. The other has finished laying the foundation for long-term wealth. Since the initial capital and the external environment remained constant, we have to look for an internal mechanism to explain the disparity. The psychological framework applied to a first windfall dictates the long-term trajectory of that capital. The broke mindset treats an influx of cash as immediate permission to consume. It flows into a new phone, some designer sneakers, or an expensive weekend trip. These purchases provide a brief spike in dopamine, but the excitement fades after a few weeks. The money disappears, and the individual's net worth remains exactly where it started. A wealthy mindset shifts the focus toward future utility. Instead of looking at $1,000 and asking what it can buy today, they ask what that money can become tomorrow. Wealth creation requires viewing early capital as a collection of seeds to be planted, rather than a resource to be exhausted for pleasure. This graph illustrates the reality of a liability. Consumer goods lose massive value immediately upon purchase, flatlining near zero. Conversely, an asset, like an index fund or trade tool, follows the second line. It maintains value and returns capital over time. This requires moving past the desire for social approval. Every dollar spent must meet a functional requirement. It has to eventually pay a dividend. Treating every dollar as an employee with a specific, measurable job prevents the rapid evaporation of initial capital. For a small amount like $1,000, the highest return often comes from high-leverage personal skills rather than the stock market. Allocating those funds toward learning tangible abilities like coding, digital marketing, or video editing creates a permanent asset that cannot be lost to a market crash. This creates a wealth chain reaction. High-leverage skills generate higher active income, which then provides the fuel for much larger passive investments. Self-investment converts a finite windfall into an infinite earning potential. Defensive capital allocation is just as vital as growth. It starts with the unglamorous necessity of an emergency fund. Life is unpredictable. Eventually, an unavoidable financial curveball, like a medical bill or a major car repair, will hit both individuals simultaneously. Person B uses their protected funds to absorb the shock and return to baseline. Person A, with no savings, is forced into high-interest debt, causing their net worth to plummet below zero. Financial freedom is impossible with financial security. Leaving capital unprotected makes future debt a mathematical certainty. While the average person works for money, the wealthy individual structures their capital so that money works for them over the long term. Over several decades, compound growth begins to do the heavy lifting. Eventually, a diversified portfolio reaches this inflection point, where the annual passive returns actually outpace the original $1,000 principal. Generating these types of returns requires extreme patience. You have to give compounding the necessary decades to function. By the end of the 12-month experiment, Person B's progress is the direct result of the behavioral operating system they installed. Wealth creation relies on intentional spending. Every purchase passes through one question: does this improve my future? Many wait for a big break to start managing their finances, but wealth is the mathematical aggregate of hundreds of small, consistent choices. The habits forged while allocating your very first $1,000 will dictate the entire trajectory of your financial life.